Hey guys, it's me, Christy Lee, and today is Sunday. I've got to go to work today, but before I do, I wanted to come on and talk to you guys for a little bit. My desk is such a mess right now. I spent all day yesterday working on cleaning up my fish tanks and moving my sick fish into a quarantine tank, I guess. I made a couple videos yesterday that I am not going to put up. They were basically just me talking about what happens when my depression hits. And some of you may know that I have suffered, I hate saying suffering, I have lived with depression my whole life, as far as I can remember. Probably from the age of 6 or 7 is when I can first remember feeling the effects of depression and anxiety. And I was just basically telling you what I'm like the majority of the time, which is not a happy-go-lucky person. I'm kind of melancholy and somber most of the time, and a lot of the things that the hobbies that I enjoy, when my depression hits, they get put on the back burner. For instance, my fish tanks. Depression hasn't been super bad, but it's been bad enough that I've lost interest in a lot of the things, temporarily of course, that I was really into. I had 3 fish tanks, and most of them, the first 2 that I had set up, were not being taken care of. They severely needed water changes. When my depression acts up, my motivation and my energy level drops incredibly. And given the fact that our tap water is very nasty water, I don't like putting it in the fish tanks. I will do it sometimes, but I like to go out and buy water, fresh water, clean water. So the fact that first of all, I have to get up and go to the store and buy stuff. Second of all, the financial situation comes into play where I'm having to pay for water. So a lot of the time, I just ignore things when my depression gets to that point. Also, I have a bit of a perfectionism, I guess, and when I can't do something perfect, I'd rather not do it at all. Like, it causes so much anxiety knowing that I can't do something right and exactly the way I want to do it, that I just can't even deal with it. So that's basically what happened with my fish tanks over the last couple months. They have been severely neglected, and as a result, we did lose a few of our fish, probably about 5 fish out of all of the tanks. And yesterday, in the midst of making the video, talking to you guys about all of this, I decided to just get up and do something about it. I had to go out to the UPS store anyway to send off some packages. And I picked up a couple gallons of fresh, clean water that I was able to get with money that I earned for free from my Fronto. And then I came home and I completely disassembled the second tank that I ever set up. It's the one that had the algae bloom really bad earlier this year or later last year. I showed you guys. Cleaned all the poop and all the nasty stuff out of there, and did probably about a 50 to 60% water change. I added 4 gallons of fresh water to their tank, and then when I was doing that, I set up a 4th tank, a smaller tank here behind me. I don't think you can see it, but my neighbor who moved out a month ago or so actually left this 5-gallon glass aquarium under his trailer, and Eric went and picked it up for me right after he left, after we were sure that he was out and he wasn't coming back for anything else. He did leave quite a bit of stuff. And I cleaned it up yesterday, and I set it up for my sick fish, the ones that obviously hadn't died yet, and I was going to try to treat. Now, I am treating all 4 of my tanks right now with Melafix API Melifix, which is for bacterial infections. I am also using Pimafix, which treats fungal infections, because I haven't taken the time to look at exactly what they have. I'm just using both of these as a you know, kind of one and all type thing. I also added added some Fluval to the water changes and stuff. It's supposed to neutralize metal toxins, which I'm concerned that our house water has, our well water. And I obviously added some for the chlorine that I got from the store, and to add a little bit of stress coat to their fins. I also added bacterial supplement and aquarium salt to help with stress. I still need to do water changes on tank number 1 in my room and tank number 3 over here in the living room. They need water changes pretty bad. Tank number 3, the fish aren't really sick, but I have seen them doing some flashing, which is where they scrape their bodies against the gravel or the decorations, and that I think is a sign of some kind of parasite. I don't know. I was just looking online. I think I'm going to get API's General Cure with tetracycline in it. From everything I'm reading, it usually treats a broad range of problems in about 48 hours. I'm going to continue to do daily water changes at about 20 to 25% of the water. I discovered while filling up the 5-gallon tank that if I take our water, fill 2-gallon jugs up or 2-liter bottles up, and let the water sit, because when it first comes out it's crystal clear, and then about an hour after it's been sitting out it turns an orangey yellow color. If I let that sit for about 4 or 5 days up to a week, all the orange stuff goes down to the bottom. Now on the top there is this like slimy film, so if I'm very careful and I pour that water very slowly into the fish tank, and then I take my biggest filter, which is on this tank right here, tank number 2, and I allow that to filter through the water for a good hour, it completely clears the tank. The water in this tank, though it came 100% from our nasty well water, is crystal clear, even more clear than the tank that I used the water from the store in, which I thought was quite interesting. So now that I know that trick, I won't stress as much about, I'll just make sure that I have water on hand, sitting at all times. And I will buy some fresh water when I can. I don't have like lice or anything. I have a bad habit of picking through my hair. Anyway, so yeah, I also found baby fish while I was cleaning out tank number 2. There were a couple of baby guppies. I know for sure I've got one. This is another tank that's got just a little bit of water in here. He doesn't have any air bubbles or anything. I'm just trying to give him a chance to grow up a little bit so I can put him back in the other tank after it's been treated, so the fish don't eat him, because I did see a platy baby that I thought was big enough to take care of himself, like he wouldn't be eaten by any of the other platies or guppies. And as I'm cleaning out the tank and going through with the net and getting all the poop that's floating up while I'm moving the gravel around, a guppy just swallows the baby platy, like he was sticking halfway out of her mouth. But I didn't realize that her mouth would open up big enough to catch this baby platy. I mean, he had to be a couple weeks old, and he's just hanging, like trying to get out of her mouth, and I kind of chased her a little bit with the net until she let him go. And then I put him over in this tank here. That tank, like I said, all 4 of my tanks are being treated right now. This stuff I am going to be putting in the tank once a day for a week, and then I'll do a 25% water change and continue if needed, because some of the fish have fin rot, some of them have the cottony spots, some of them just look gross and unhealthy, and so I'm hoping that this will treat them and we can get all the tanks back on back where they need to be. So yeah, that's it. Let me see if I can show you. This is tank number 2. I removed all the plants from it to put into the quarantine tank just because there's no filter there, and I know that plants do help with filtration. I don't think you'll be able to see their sickness very well, but like her, she's looking very pale. Her tail has been eaten up. This one looks very sickly. Her tail's chewed up too, and she's just got white stuff on her body. But they're looking slightly better. So yeah, that's that tank. And this is what my desk looks like after my mess and some other messes that I created. And then this is the sick tank. I don't have a light shining over here, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but let me just bring that over here. And these are all the sick fishies here. And hopefully I'll be able to treat them and make them better. And then the other 2 tanks are too far away, and I'm too lazy to get up and go over there. Alright, so I guess that is all I was going to tell you in this video. I am going to do another video right after this one discussing a little bit about depression and anxiety and basically the do's and don'ts of loving someone with depression and anxiety, because it's not always an easy thing to deal with when you're in a relationship with someone who does or is affected by these things. And I think that it's important for people to kind of know what they're dealing with and try to understand how to handle it, if that makes any sense. Alright, that's it. 12 minutes already. I can't believe I talked that much. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.